welcome to Growing Through the Traumas. My name is Jen,
My name is Chris. Are you hurt?
and this is Butterscotch.
Say hi.
Yeah, the
Say
cutest
hello.
rabbit ever in the whole planet. Look at him. He is a fuzzy lop ear something,
That was a girl.
but she. I don't do that all the time.
She's transgender.
I'm pretty sure she's a she. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we are gender fluid here in this home.
We love this one.
So, anyway, this is Butterscotch. This is my emotional support rabbit that I never knew I needed.
It's
So
cold.
sweet.
It's very cold out here today.
Yes,
Tonight.
we are in Florida, but it is.
Best believe when we started recording all this, it was actually daytime.
It was.
Now it's nighttime.
But we discovered something very valuable. This nice investment here that my beautiful co-hosts decided to get us. It's really great at keeping the obnoxious neighbor sounds away. So, we were nervous about being outside because the neighbors were blaring Queen and going through whatever they go through. And it didn't pick up a thing.
That
So
was exciting.
shout out to investing in
What brand is it?
the whatever this is.
Vivistar, maybe that's what it's supposed to be.
The cheap stuff. It don't even matter. It's like it works. It all matters.
Anyway, so this episode is about
We're going to touch on codependency.
self-love, self-accountability, narcissism. Wow, I meant to say narcissist and narcissism at the same time, and it came out that way.
Earlier I was thinking about it, I'm like, really? It's more narcissistic abuse, right?
Well, we can touch base on also to
There's so much.
taking account. Yeah, there's a lot of
I think just about every episode we'll be discussing self-love and self-accountability. Those are the two biggest factors in healing and, getting in touch with the best version of you. So,
Yes.
so earlier we were kind of going over dark screen. There we go. Some definitions and things of codependency. For those who may not have like an idea, I'll go ahead and put myself on out there. After, growing up in certain ways and having certain childhood traumas that you don't address, you carry those into your relationships. And I spent a good portion of my young adult life, early adult life, as a codependent person.
Same. I expected people to fix my emotions for me. Like, I depended on them to make everything go away, make everything perfect, happy, go lucky.
That was
reality,
the
that wasn't
perfect description of codependency. Good job. And that's really what it is. It's like, and I don't know if it's any different for me, and I'm going to research this more with the borderline personality disorder. But one of the things with borderline personality disorder is you kind of like never fully put your real self out. And so you would kind of attach to other people's lives, like, you make that person like everything that has to do with your world. That's the main focus of your world, and that's a lot of pressure on somebody. That's a lot of pressure. So, shout out to those who had dealt with me in my unhealed state. Okay, so I just
Do you want to say what it is exactly?
Yes, let's do this first, please.
Okay, so the actual definition is basically it's a condition that affects your ability to have a healthy relationship, whether it be friendship, intimate, even with family, like
Family for sure.
And that can lead into like having codependency with parents and kids, where the parents depend on the kids to make them happy. That puts a lot of pressure on the kids.
Yep. And see, that's the thing is not healing from your codependency, you will tend to naturally do that because that's how you associate yourself with your connections.
Like this one says, a person who is codependent will plan their entire life around pleasing the other person or the enabler. In its simplest terms, a codependent relationship is when one partner needs the other partner, who in turn needs to be needed.
Which typically ends up leading you into a narcissist's hands. And a lot of the times
because you feel like you need to be needed, and they love bomb the shit out of you. And they make you feel
cold.
It's so cold. My nose keeps running. I'm so sorry.
I couldn't find my dang gloves either. But no, and that absolutely. And oftentimes growing up, with parents who struggle with these things and possible narcissism traits or narcissism, it is you really have no hope. You have no hope, but that's what you've been exposed to. So I want to read off the 9 warning signs of a codependent relationship because you just touched on it. People pleasing. If you've been a people pleaser and your joy is only through what kind of joy you can bring others, which kind of for me personally, created this sense of there's no way this person loves me unless I'm sacrificing. Because that was the depth of how my codependency kind of started was, like even, I love my mother, but in her most unhealed version, she needed constant reassurance that we loved her as her children, and, excuse me, I'll wipe my nose on this. So rude. But, it's cold.
It's cold.
And this fire ain't even working right now. But, in that state, I felt responsible a lot for her feelings, and that, turned into people pleasing, lack of boundaries, poor self-esteem, caretaking, again, being the one feeling responsible for someone else's feelings and their emotions.
Even if something goes wrong in their life, you feel like you're responsible for fixing it and making them happy.
Yeah, which is, I feel like empaths are kind of like they naturally have a higher risk of becoming codependent because we feel other people's emotions, and it's hard to like detach yourself from the other people's emotions, so I think it's even more spiritual than what we realize as well. But reacting, so that's something big. That's something I really had a hard time with for years and years and years, reacting instead of responding to things.
Yeah.
So, all these years later, learning that triggers, by the way, I want to make sure I touch on this. Look at my hair. What's it doing? Are really healthy. They're healthy when you're in a space of not allowing them to debilitate you anymore, but you're in a space of being able to recognize, okay, this emotion, this situation, something about this has triggered these emotions, which lead me to what? Why? Why does this feel this way? And then you can transmute that and change it and then work through it and be like, okay, this is not this situation. This is no longer who I am. This is no longer what I identify with. So, like, you can get on the other side of codependency if that's something that you struggle with. You absolutely can. It just takes a lot of work and a lot of understanding of self, So, yes, it's so cool.
So this is saying this is something, so this talks about what triggers codependency, and it says that it's someone who is raised with parents who are either overprotective or underprotective.
We just learned that. Interesting. So codependency really obviously just stems from an unsafe space, feeling unsafe, not really having
self.
And especially if it comes from childhood, because codependency is definitely a childhood. They just said it, it comes from parents, I think that, your environment not being safe and stable and allowing you to blossom fully into, a mentally healthy person, with self-respect and all those understandings. So
this says how to break codependency. How do you think you would break codependency? I mean, there's this, which is kind
I
of
think I broke codependency for myself by the most important thing that's helped me is my level of self-love and self-awareness of who I am, like fully capturing myself and building my relationship with spirit and building my with my highest self, spirit connection, everything. And I've been making more and more connections with people that I just see them for who they are, where they are now, instead of them being something I desire to be what I need them to be, which I think is something that we do, especially as codependent people, is, we want so bad this person to be these things for us. And that's not really true love and true, like me and you. There's unconditional love here. No doubt about that, right? So there is nothing I need from you. I don't need anything from you but to just be you and show up as you. You know what I mean? And vice versa. And that's a beautiful relationship. That's a non-codependent relationship. Like we support each other like that. And that should be in all relationships.
We're able to still do things without.
And the biggest thing is learning detachment. That was the one thing that I was supposed to speak on. Oh, shoot. That's okay. You know what? You know what? We're going to test this microphone just now.
Ooh, okay. Wait, is it coming?
I don't know. You see? It does that all the time.
So this says, start being honest with yourself and others. Which I get, because honestly, the only way to start is to be honest with yourself and really come to the conclusion that you do have codependency issues. And it's okay to have those. Like, it's really okay. I don't know. People have a hard time accepting.
It's okay to have those, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, especially if you're going to work on those.
Right.
But it's not okay to keep putting yourself onto people while you're still healing, while you're not in a space, you know what I mean? Because there's people that I love still to this day very deeply, that I placed a lot of my hurt on, and could not even accept the love for how it was, you know, because I was so disillusioned on what relationships were.
Really important. This is, don't take things personally. I learned to stop doing that, because at the end of the day, she's over here. You're not going to make everybody happy, and if you sit here and take what someone says personally, and you constantly sit here and listen to, like, someone saying, oh, well, you know, I think you should have done this, or you should have done this, like, you are going to live, that's people-pleasing. You're going to live your life people-pleasing other people to make sure they approve of what it is that you're doing, and that's just not it. Like, you're supposed to live your life for yourself, not for other people.
And see, that even goes into something I was having a conversation with someone recently, is like things that other people say to you, or what the placement of judgment that they place on you, if that hurts you, something that they've said or something they do, or you know, whatever, it hurts you because you must feel that way about yourself somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, how can someone else's thought process or opinion matter at all and affect you emotionally if there's not something that resonates with what they said? So then it's like, you know, like calling somebody fat, like that crackhead that I had to pick you up and put you back in the car. So anyway,
establishing boundaries. Okay? Establishing boundaries is really important to not allow people to make you feel uncomfortable or make you feel like, you know, this is out of your comfort zone. A lot of people do that shit. A lot of people will do shit that they don't want to do because they feel obligated to do it. And, like, you're not obligated to do anything. You don't owe anything to anyone. You owe everything to yourself.
Pin this. We're definitely going to have that conversation about women feeling obligated to have sex in relationships and all those things.
We'll talk about
That's definitely a big one we need to talk about. People pleasing. Absolutely 100%. And see, I think in order to get to understand why your boundaries are so important and how to enforce those boundaries, speaking from experience, is realizing, like, this is the space, this is where I want to be. I want to be at peace. I want to feel safe in my environment. I want to create this world for me full of these type of relationships. So it takes me working on it and me kind of looking at it and saying, okay, how is this making me feel? And is this a me thing? Am I the one? Like, am I creating this kind of situation for myself due to my trauma and my codependency? Or is this really what is going on, you know? And until you can get in that space, I don't think that you can have healthy, any relationships, really, you know? But yeah, what it took for me was ending up having to fight for my life with my abusive ex, who's definitely a narcissist. Definitely a narcissist.
We could do a whole segment on narcissists if that's what you want. A whole segment.
So... But see, that was the thing. I saw the things in him that I had done in past relationships, with maybe not to the same degree and not in the same ways necessarily, but there were definitely things where I was like, ooh, I don't like the way this feels, and I would kind of be able to see, like, it mirrored certain traits. And see, that's the thing, is you can have, and people do have, narcissistic traits and different traits without being a narcissist. We definitely overuse this person's a narcissist, this person's a narcissist. By the way, there was hot cocoa in this mug. It looks a little... Okay.
So, on the topic of codependency, I've already asked her for permission, so obviously we won't name any names. If ever you reach out and we use you as an example, no one's going to know who you are or anything like that.
No.
It'll be kept
She wants to be down on the
secret. It'll be kept.
And we will get your permission before sharing even the story.
Yeah, so. Like, we'll make sure, because we know some people may be like, wow, that sounds familiar.
Honestly, though, we're really excited. There are people that want to come on the show and want to be a part and want to share their stories and the things that they're growing through at this time, you know, or have been growing through at this in the stage of their life. So, are you going to tell a story?
Yes, I was letting her know that we couldn't go live because we wanted to go live. You know what's crazy is that y'all would not hear that. Somebody just yelled loud as fuck, and you would not have heard that.
I'm talking screaming. We're so glad. I love this microphone.
She told me that she wanted to learn to be more independent in general, and like let me go.
Oh, we're talking about, yes, kind of having the fear of being doing things without people's approval or someone holding her hand, kind of thing. I remember this. Okay.
She said, I was like, I asked her, what exactly do you think it is that you depend on someone for? And she says to create certain decisions, things I'm not comfortable because I don't feel like I'll be as safe, or to trust myself making those choices. Which we've all been there. We've all put ourselves in unsafe or positions we didn't want to be in because we felt like we had to do something, which again we'll talk about.
Yep. People pleasing.
So I asked her if she had a fear of being alone, if that's what it was, and she said that she actually finds comfort in being alone. She's scared of making decisions, that she can live alone. It's just a responsibility that scares her, so making payments on time, because she used to have somebody who she lived with, her ex, that she depended on, who took care of all of that for her, so she didn't have the chance to do that.
That just popped. I don't think we should give as many details. That was Spirit, like, limit your details on it. So
I wasn't. I was literally actually going through.
No, not it. Like, yeah, I know. That's what. Okay, yeah. Let's say
I needed to say that part in order to talk about how she depended on her ex to make those choices
actually make those choices.
So now she doesn't feel like she can make them safely on her own.
Right.
When she lives on her own.
Gotcha.
Well, that's a codependency issue.
It is.
That's a really big one, and that's
I think
that came from that.
And see, that's interesting because even with my codependency, mine's always been emotional. Mine has been an emotional codependency. So that's actually really good to point that out because, you know, I guess it's all emotional, but when you know what, maybe not. Because there was for a while there, I didn't step out in my, oh, look, y'all seeing it right here. You seeing it processing while we're talking about it. This is exactly what happens. Where I say, you know what? I say that because I feel like I've struggled. I've been in survival mode financially my entire life, you know, and being on my own since I was 17. It's like I haven't had a time really where I've had, you know, a whole lot of space with financial help around me. So I didn't feel like I was dependent on it. But if I'm being completely honest, there was a, why'd you bite me? She's like, can we go inside, please? There was an underlining feeling of not having the capability of doing it on my own, because I mean I was a single mom with 3 kids and, you know, limited education and no vehicle half the time. You know, it was hard. It was a struggle, you know, but I think that's also what helped me break the codependency is like I had that time like alone where I had to go through things and I had to grow through things, and, you know, it made me face certain things, you know. So
well, the only way to really break that and to move forward with that is to just do things. Like, you have to start doing things to put yourself in the position to trust yourself, because if not, you never will. So if you want to live in the fact of being scared of, oh, I don't want to mess up, then I guess you'll just have to stay there.
That's true.
And then on this talks, like, we're gonna be real and like honest. Like, I'm gonna tell you that, like, well, if that's where you want to be, then that's where you want to be.
And that's the absolute truth.
Because I don't have time.
You have 2 choices. 2 choices.
We don't have time. Like, I want to keep growing and I want to evolve, and if you don't want to evolve, then you can stay there, but I'm not going to be there.
That's just not where you're at. Girl, what you got going on right now? Come here. You want to pick up? Nibbling my feet and stuff. Are you hungry? You want to go inside to get a carrot? Okay. So, yes, with that is, you know, great book, Power of Now. Okay. Power of Now states in there, like, you really only have 2 choices, and I'm not quoting. You have 2 choices in life. You either work on change the things that you don't like about what's going on in your world. But if it's not something you can change, you need to change how you're looking at it.
You won't have peace or happiness if you don't allow yourself to do those things that you want to do.
I don't know what her deal is right now.
It's cold as hell outside.
She loves the cold though. She's like a cold rabbit. She's a wool. Look at her. She's never been this active. Okay.
I believe. Where do you think that they should start? Where would your advice? What would your that's what it is. What would your advice be?
In order to start walking out of a codependency patterns and behaviors, you have to recognize them. That's the first step. You have to recognize them where they're at. Like, okay, why is this for example, you know, there's somebody, a friend, a romantic friend, something that you feel like you have to have access to at all times, and the reassurance of it at all times. And if that's not there, you know, you have the negative thoughts, and you kind of self-sabotage is another way of saying it. And if you notice that that's what you're doing, you got to take a step back. And you kind of got to get by yourself for a while, honestly. You got to get by yourself, and you got to learn to stand on your own 2 feet, and you got to learn how to navigate without those connections in that way. Because once you can fully just like appreciate people and start accepting love like the way it's meant to be accepted, and be able to mirror that back and give that back in a healthy way, it's a whole different world in this healed space. It's a whole different world of just, not everything feels so unsafe anymore. And it's a beautiful thing, so.
I agree. Do you feel like that? These are just like the next ones I think we should talk about.
Okay. Yeah. Accountability, self-accountability.
We can talk about
is pretty much going to be in every episode, because self-accountability is where it's at. Like,
you have to take accountability for literally everything that you do in your own. Everything that you do, every decision you make is your own decision that you've made. So you have to take accountability if it's not something that should have been done. Like nobody else made you make that choice. You did it on your own. Like regardless if you were in what kind of state you were in, you need to acknowledge that state.
Even when
you're figure out what was going on there and why you felt like you needed to.
Like one of those things that we used to talk about in the very beginning when we started growing through our traumas together here is, he made me feel this way and this many times this, and it's like you have to stop. And how does anyone make you do anything without your permission, or make you feel any way without your permission?
You allowed that behavior to happen. You stayed somewhere even though you knew it made you feel that way. And you still stayed somewhere that made you feel that way.
Yeah. So why? And that's why, like, even though, yeah, I never in my life thought I'd have to actually stab somebody. But, I'm like, self-defense, y'all. Self-defense. I'm actually thankful now because I was able to look at myself and say, this behavior, I exhibited a similar behavior at this person. And I can understand why that made that situation go awry, And even with my ex-husband, like, understanding like the codependency that happened with like that was a stable relationship at one point. And it just felt too stable, I think. And I was like,
that's how it was with my last. It was stable in the beginning, and then at the end it kind of there was just so much shit, and I realized that I literally depended on him to make me happy. Like I literally would put all of my issues on him, and I'm like, here, you make it better.
You know what else too? Happy. I also think that, and I had just said this to my ex-husband, is, I became a very young mother, and I love my children, and obviously, I was meant to be a mother. I fully believe that, and so were you. And so it's like, but when you're that young and you're still struggling through your own stuff, that's why I posted that ode to my mother recently, because the realization, like, if you're not healed and you're not in the space, and now you're still learning who you truly are and trying to get through that hurt, because you're not that person that's living through that hurt right now. You're not that person. There's that person inside of you, who, that inner child before all that stuff, who really wants to help you live and create a joyous world for yourself. Okay. So with that said, realizing like, okay, now I'm identifying as a mother and a wife, and I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, I don't know who I am anymore. My whole life just changed, and I wanted to be the best possible mother and the best possible wife, and but I didn't know or understand really how to balance still having me. And I ended up actually kind of resentful towards my ex-husband for the fact that he still kind of had his own stuff, and here I am just like
doing it. Yeah,
and it was my own
like
fault.
That for a little bit too with my son's dad. I was like, damn, you get to do whatever you want, and now I'm here doing it all by myself. Like,
right. My whole life
but that
and
comes
breath
with
is
having narcissistic traits and tendencies. That's the difference too. A narcissist will sit there and have these traits and tendencies and say that they don't have them, or believe they're perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with them.
Most of the time, narcissist is going to tell you you're the narcissist.
Yeah, they're going to tell you you're the problem, but in reality it's really them. And you can have narcissistic traits and tendencies and recognize them, and that's what doesn't make you a narcissist, is when you can recognize them.
Right. And it's important to work through them, like this vibe, this energy, this attitude of this is just how I am, that don't fly. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah, no.
And because how's that treating you, sis? How's that treating you, bro? Like, how, really, in order to live a truthfully, like, joyful experience while we're here, you got to be in a healthy state, mind, body, and soul. You know, so it's what we're encouraging.
I wonder. Can't hear that.
I hope not. There's a helicopter.
Ooh, helicopter.
Oh, isn't it a new moon?
No.
Or is it not?
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Okay.
This is the last quarter.
Okay. Well, we're gonna.
This is showing up for you, and I feel like that has a lot to do with healing from codependencies. You really have to show up for yourself.
Yes.
So, yeah. I think the next episode we should really talk about PTSD, and PTSD coming from like childhood to friendships to relationships to like family, like all kinds of PTSD.
Tragedies.
Like, all kinds. I feel like we should make a little bit of video. Also, too, I want to add a new segment. I just thought about it while we're doing it, if you don't mind.
What?
Now, my radio station does a celebrity trash. I want to do something like that, but I want to call it something. I love talking about celebrities. It's so funny. They'd be crazy. Kanye West got married. If you didn't know, that motherfucker got married. Weirdo.
I don't care.
And then, do you want to talk about it for a little bit?
Ooh.
Keenan Anderson.
Oh, the English teacher?
Mm-hmm. You want to touch base about that a little bit? This goes into, well, he wasn't a celebrity, but he is now, because now he was tragically killed at the hands of police officers.
You're smiling because you don't want to be angry right now.
At a car accident.
She's trying so hard not to look like we both didn't just say all kinds of not nice things. We're tired of it. We're tired of it. We're tired of seeing the injustice. We're tired of people being okay. We're tired of people making excuses for it to be okay. That, you know, and this is the thing. Hold up. We are not police bashers either. Like, we're not.
Oh,
okay?
No. Don't come up here.
Just because I caught my second felony was battery on Leo. I was a kid. I was only 16, y'all. I was bad. I was going through some shit. So,
but it's a simple fact that I commented on something because you had posted, and I said that the mere simple fact that someone of color is people there. Of course, they're not gonna be like, of course I'm terrified of the police, because we don't want to say that. But in reality, like, being around a police officer does make someone of color
just
nervous.
about everybody has
even
anxiety.
Me too,
and that's
what I said.
That's not what we're.
People claim that someone like me, because I am white, that I shouldn't be afraid of police officers or anything because I have white privilege. But let me tell you something. If I get pulled over at night, you got me messed up if you think that I'm finna pull over in a dark road. I don't trust cops. That don't mean nothing. I don't trust them. Unfortunately, I don't.
And that's the thing is, like, there are good police officers out there. You know, so it's and to me, I would think about it. I'm like, if I were married to a police officer, you know, of any any race, any background, any ethnic background, how would I feel about that? I would be afraid for them. I'd be afraid for them too, you know.
Because the good cops, they go out there and they could be mistaken because
everybody's gonna get that energy. But it's like, at the same time, I've seen officers that are friends of mine, like, look out and be like, hey, listen, like, they one of the reasons why they left it was that whole situation. They don't want to be recognized or branched into that. And that's just sad and that's awful, and we need to change that. We need to change that by holding these people accountable to the full extent. Like, a 31-year-old English teacher should not be dead because he got tased to death after asking for help from police officers. Like, that's just the simple facts right there. That's
literally.
Period.
He was asking for help.
Right.
Anyway,
so
people will say otherwise. Oh, he was probably had drugs.
Bro,
anyway,
if you even start with the I want to what else and blah 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 blah.
That don't even matter.
You might be a racist.
What? Tell me.
I said it.
Tell me what person, if you tase them, will be able to stay still.
That's not even the point. They do that stuff. You know how many times? Listen, my leg is just going now. I'm starting to get hot. So we're gonna kill this episode.
Talk about PTSD next episode.
Speaking of, my legs just going because oh man, you looking at somebody that's been in riots. So it's like it goes. We'll be talking about it though. We'll be talking about it, and you know, sending love and light to, I can't remember his name. I'm awful with names. The gentleman we were just speaking about,
Keenan Anderson.
Sending love and light to his family, friends, his students.
He had students. That probably loved the hell out of him. Like,
yeah, because it's not like we're not having a whole teacher shortage as it is, but you're gonna take anyway. Stop taking away good people. Right. That's not your job.
So we'll see you next. Actually, we want to go live the 21st, which is a Saturday. We tried going live now, but we have to wait 24 hours. Whatever.
YouTube.
Yeah. But we will be going live next Saturday, probably around 6, 7.
I think
so
somewhere between that. Y'all let us know. Y'all let us know what
time works best.
Yeah, because if you can get involved while we're live, that would be dope, and we can interact and talk and exactly. So let's keep the support going. We love y'all lots, and
much more to talk about, much more to do, much more to see, say, all the above.
Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while.
Got a lot of work to do, babes.
All right, make sure you do some journaling.
Oh, topic signing off.
Yes, make sure you do some journaling.
So, topic would be, where do you believe your codependency lies? Do you believe it lies with making decisions, emotions? And then I want you to explore that. Explore why you think you're codependent. Does it come from having parent issues, past relationship issues, and then what you think you could do to break through that? So that's 3 things I think you could work on.
Yep, and I want you to look at yourself. This is my favorite thing, okay? When you start to get those thoughts in your head that you know, self-sabotaging and beating yourself up and not feeling good enough and all those fear, all that stuff, okay? At that point, I want you to think of, if the person I love the most outside of me, you know, if that person was feeling this way, what would be the things I'd want them to know about themselves? And I want you to tell yourself those things. 3 things every day of what makes you
I'm supposed to sneeze and
such a that's gonna make you to stop beating yourself up, to, you know, because you should be the person that you love the most. You absolutely should. So anything that you would say, like what I would say to her, what I'd say to any of my kids, what I would say to people who I love the most.
Talking down on yourself is really big. Stop doing that shit, girl.
Yeah, if you do it, it's okay. Check yourself. Check yourself. Nah, that's not.
Check yourself. Before you wreck yourself. Ooh.
All right, y'all.
Anyway, we're gonna get out of here.
Outie. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you.
See you next time. See you Saturday. Bye. Where the fuck's the button?
Button.